What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Just give me a sec here. There we go. And we are broadcasting live on Friday, November 7th in the greater Toronto area. Definitely it is fall season, and they're actually calling for flakes of snow in the Toronto area and outside Toronto, a little bit rain, snow mix over the weekend. Uh, so winter is here. The furnace has been on for a while. Believe it or not, it has been on for a little while. So we are just hanging out on the morning vibe. So people will say, "Where's Ryan? Where's Ryan?" Ryan is actually, I don't know if he's on his way back or he's in Atlanta, Georgia at the Power Networking Conference that's held by Dr. George Fraser. So that's where he is at the present moment. I don't know if he's still there or he's on his way back. I saw a brief video from him, is it yesterday? I think with George Fraser opening up the conference. But I hope he's having a good time. I hope he's just, he's doing his networking down there. But that's where he's at this time. What is going on with everybody else in the room today? For me, it's been to be honest, a challenge week and a half. For those who may or may not know, I do have a number of relatives in Jamaica. And it was first slowly but surely, but now getting more video and conversations of the devastation that Jamaica has gone through because of Hurricane Melissa, especially the western part of Jamaica, where I have a lot of relatives all over the islands, but a strong amount in the western half of Jamaica. And even up to this morning, I got a video from my dad. My dad's up here, by the way, of our house down there and trees knocked down. I don't know if I've shared with some of you. I do have an uncle who lives across the street from our family home. The roof was blown off his family home. Also, all the windows blown out, but they're okay. The most important thing that no one has lost their life. It's going to be a long, long build. I was listening to a report this morning, and throughout the Caribbean, they're estimating. I don't know if it's 2.5 million or 2.5 billion dollars worth of damage. Don't know, but it's still a lot. Now, one of the good things, and I guess I can align with this because we got Wayne Harris coming up with Financial First Fridays. Jamaica took out an insurance policy last year for $150 million if natural disaster caused any challenges. The bad thing, though, is I know a lot of Jamaican homeowners that didn't have any insurance on their homes, which is not a good thing. A lot of people just build their homes and so go, as we say, so go. Uh, a lot of people may not be able to build their homes. There's so much going on with that, and cannot underestimate the damage that also happened in other islands like Haiti and Cuba. It's been a challenging time in Jamaica, but we will pull through and we will come back. Out of many, one people, as we say in Jamaica. Other than that, been a somewhat quiet week. I did say, I think a few shows ago, I have a next door neighbor that has a big maple tree, and I was blessed. That not too many of the leaves came over on my side, but we've had some windy days in Toronto the last few days, so I got some leaf raking to do. Eh, but the thing is, there's rain and like I don't like raking wet leaves. I don't know what anyone else has to say about that, but I'm not a fan of raking wet leaves. That is it. What else do we have going on? It's getting to the end of the year. Oh, what for our American f- um, family and people who watch American politics, some things went down in American politics over the last week. Who would, and my dad and I, of course, my dad being a Jamaican man, loves talking his politics. Who would think in our lifetime, New York City, the most important city in the United States, and maybe definitely one of the most important cities in the world, the mayor of New York is a Muslim man who's like 34 years old. Wow. That's a shock. But I know Mr. Harris may have some takes on that, not only from a cultural end, but an economic end, because I was told, I've been reading some reports that a number of billionaires invested in his opponent Cuomo's campaign of over $20 million to get Andrew Cuomo, who was a former governor of New York, elected over Mr. Mondani, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So sometimes money can't do everything. sometimes. So that's a little bit. If you are watching live, please chime in and say where you're calling in from, what's going on with your life, and are you getting ready for the Christmas season? We're going to go to a quick break, then come back, do some housework, and then we'll have Wayne Harris talking about charitable giving. There may be some other things you want to chat about, but let's go.
Watch Black Canada Talking live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Cesar and Dima Musa gives his takes and POVs on news stories from a Black Canadian perspective. You won't want to miss it.
That's right. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Sundays, myself and Cesar, Dima Musa, I've been told to call it Dima, not in Dima, but Dima Musa, where Cesar gives takes and POVs from a Black Canadian perspective on local, provincial, national, international lens on things. So that is Cesar. So let's do some housekeeping here. As always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Now, I know a large majority, not large, a number of people who watch this show don't subscribe, and they watch it regularly. I wonder why. I'd really appreciate it. It would be a great Christmas gift for me because I really want to get to the 2,000 subscriber mark. And I do have some giveaways for that 2,000 subscriber. If you can do it, appreciate it. But at least like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Also, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Please email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also, there's a link there you can click on to get you there to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Can't forget Dr. Tache, Indie Soup Media with Dr. Tachi. And that's an independent content creators platform with about 25 independent content creators, myself being one of them. I'm also on the advisory board. And Dr. Tachi, it's 28,000 subscribers in about 20 months of operation. That is rare air, family. Rare air. Because remember, only 4% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. So note that. So let's see what else we got to go on. Yeah. Okay. I will do this. I didn't have a lower third for it, but you know what? I might as well do it. Okay, if my computer is going to behave, yes, it will behave. All right. We got it going on here. So do a little technical moving around here. All right, let's do this. Hey, and if you are up to it, if you are watching live, you can call in. Go to callme.rode.com. As you're seeing on your screen, you'll go to this screen right here. Then put in the code. I'm going to highlight it here, FSPL8L. Make sure it's in capitals. And then you'll be taken to this screen. Put in your name. And I've been promising to make a video on this. And I've got to make a video on this so it relieves me of doing this. I can just play a quick little video. And then all you need to do is, once you put your name in, click on join call and you're good to go. All right, family, that was the little engagement piece today. Engagement piece. All right. So let's get back at it. So it's the first Friday of November. And the first Friday of each month, we have Wayne Harris coming on to talk about all things on Financial First Fridays. So let's see if we can do this. I want to see if I can give Mr. Harris an introduction he would appreciate. So let's do this. All right. Good morning, Mr. Harris. How art thou? Okay, for some reason we can't hear you.
Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Now we got you. We got you now. Morning, my brother. How are you?
Life is doing very well.
Excellent. Excellent. How is family?
Everybody's good. Imagine this, doctor, and you were there. 25 years ago yesterday, my daughter was born.
Wow. Wow.
Can you imagine?
How does that feel?
It's happened once before because my son is now 27.
Yeah.
But knowing that the baby is 25 years old is kind of surreal. And this is a new millennia. She's a Y2K baby. So she follows the century. Century started in 2000. Century will end in 2100, and she's going to follow the entire century. She might make the entire century based with modern medicine.
Wow.
She could live to be over 100 for sure.
What have some lessons that you've learned in being a parent for a dad? Forget a parent, a dad for 27 years.
Well, great question. I'm the first generation. I'm the first generation in 3 to have the kids and the wife in the same house at the same time.
Wow. If I have your permission to interrupt, I wonder how many other Black fathers are in that situation.
I would say about 25%.
What does that say about the 75%?
Says the culture shifted after the 1960s and the standards of what manhood, and I may get in trouble for this, what traditional manhood.
Don't get in trouble. You know, you are sounding very low. I'm going to turn up the volume on my end because you are a little low.
I'll turn up on my end too. I think that I couldn't wait to be a father. I couldn't wait to be a husband. I couldn't wait to be in this position. And I didn't see it as a burden. I saw it as a responsibility and something to aspire to. And I saw my non-Black friends and some of my Black friends in the same situation. I'm like, look at that dynamic, husband and wife in the kitchen, laughing with each other, touching each other, sometimes appropriately, sometimes, just on the cusp of inappropriate. The kids going, Dad, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, I live for those moments. And my kids see some of that playfulness with my wife and I. And we're coming up on 40 years together. November 11th at 10:36 p.m. will be 40 years that Angie and I have been together, and 33 years married. So I think it's, we shouldn't be unicorns, but we are in some situations, and in others we're not unicorns. We're just par for the course. There are a lot of married people with adult kids, and some of them have grandchildren, and we are not comparing ourselves to anyone, but we are trying to set an example for those coming behind us that this is something you can do within your own culture.
Do you have a concern for those coming behind us?
The concern for those coming behind us has more to do with what their standards are. You live your life not at your level of your goals. You live your life at the level of your standards and habits. So I just look at people's habits and their standards and see how they roll, and if they're rolling in a way that's congruent with long-term relationships and mutual respect and trust and love and honesty and all those things combined, not just in love. Some people just want to be in love, and in love is great, but in love is only one component of all the attributes you need for a long-term relationship.
We're going to go down this path for a few moments. This is interesting. How concerned are you about the Black family?
Depends on which Black family you're talking about, because
Okay,
the Black family is not monolithic. And first,
sure.
before I get too distracted, again, shout out to you, your family. Hope you guys are well. I heard the preamble.
We can talk on it's really challenging. I'll bring it up too that there's a cousin of mine. They have call it a resort place about an hour and a half outside of downtown Montego Bay where you can go, and there's a river there, and one of the things they offer is bamboo boat rides down the river,
Hmm.
right? And when I went last time, I went there, and you stop off, and then you get someone to give you a leg massage with limestone.
Hmm. I've seen it. Only the girls have seen it. I've never seen the guys.
Yeah, and their place is totally destroyed.
Yes.
Totally destroyed. And and as I mentioned before I brought you on, a lot of people don't have insurance.
A lot of people can't afford insurance, or
There you
believe
go.
or believe they can't afford insurance, and they do not prioritize insurance. So my industry, obviously, I've been in risk management for now over 30 years, and I ask myself three questions. Question number one: what's the best that can happen? The best that can happen is Jamaica is going to be 32 degrees Celsius, sunny skies, beautiful, and everything's going to be great. What's most likely to happen? Jamaica is going to have more good days than bad days, but when it has bad days, you have to be able to accommodate the bad days. A little bit of rain, rainy season, so on and so forth. What's the worst that can happen? Category 5 hurricane. I was in Barbados for Hurricane Gilbert.
Yes.
Okay. Cat 5 went over Barbados, did a little damage, but didn't hit as hard, hit Jamaica hard. I was in Miami for Hurricane Andrew in 1992. And here is Hurricane Melissa in 2025, Category 5, one of the strongest storms of the year, the strongest storm of the year, but not the strongest storm overall. But Jamaica has been hit enough times that Jamaicans should know that hurricane type insurance is kind of a must have, because you don't know if you're going to get hit every year, but at least every Olympics you're going to get hit. Every 4 or 5 years you're going to get hit to some degree. I just don't know what those premiums look like. Not my territory, but what those premiums look like for the person living on income coming in from foreign. So the family that's coming in from the UK, United States, and Canada are usually subsidizing the lifestyles of their family back home. And others don't need that. But the ones who don't need that probably have it. The ones who do need that probably don't have it. And that's probably where we have to look at. So the socioeconomics of Jamaica are going to dictate who's going to have it and who's not.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%. We got a shout out already from the morning. Someone you may know. Make it a great day, gentlemen, from a lady named Heather Harris.
What? Dr. Harris in the house.
Heather Harris is in the yard, as we say in Jamaica. She's in the yard.
In the
She's in
yard.
the yard. She's in the yard. All right. And then other people, yeah, if you have comments, please, please. Okay. Oh, actually, Heather has another comment for us here saying, my friends did that recently. So sorry to hear about your family and all the Jamaicans, Haitians, Cubans, all have experienced loss. I pray the Jamaican government uses I don't know if it's 24 billion. I didn't know it was that much. I didn't hear that in insurance on the people. They are setting a precedent in the Caribbean on how they use these funds. Now, I was reading a report of how Jamaica took out insurance, and there was one expert saying Jamaica's ahead of the game because a lot of countries don't do that.
I didn't know you could do that. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't know either. So kudos to the government for being ahead of the curve. Unfortunately, we just wish that some of the individuals in Jamaica, again, maybe because of expense, could go that route also. But next time. Mr. Harris, today, one of the conversation topics you want to chat about is making charitable giving work for your family. And some people would say, you can make it work for your family?
Indeed, doctor. Indeed.
So I don't know if you want to share some stuff. I've got a pile of, I've come with my questions. I got a pile of questions to ask you. So how do you want to roll on this?
Well, let's first set the stage. Charitable giving is one of those things that I used to think was ascribed only to the wealthy. Wealthy people come in, they donate libraries, they donate buildings, they donate cancer wards at hospitals, and so on and so forth. I'm like, wow, rich people donate, they give back, philanthropy. Poor people don't do that because we're the ones on the receiving end, and I was poor for a long time. So I was like, hey, I can't give. I need to be receiving. So I had that mentality. But as I got myself together financially, I started looking at charities. One of the charities I support is this one right here. You should be familiar with this pin here. This is the 100 Strong
Oh, yes.
pin. It's a charity started by Donald McLeod and Ainsworth Morgan, Gary Crossdale, and Ray Williams, Gavin Douglas, myself, O'Neill Edwards, and am I missing anybody? Dr. Atu Sekiocho, and a few others. And we all came together and we put together this. It was a nonprofit, but it was our own money. 100 Black men using our own money to create something for Black boys at the time in Regent Park. We didn't have charitable status, so we were giving the money out of our goodness of our heart. And then we got nonprofit status, and then we got charitable status. And now it has expanded from just Regent Park to now Durham region as well as Peel region. So we have over 100 boys, and we provide them with uniforms because some of them are used to that from coming from Africa and the Caribbean. We give them breakfast, we give them lunch, and then we take them to places in Toronto and the GTA for now that where Black men are in positions of power, that they can hear their stories so they can dream bigger dreams than they may have for themselves based on their environmental situation. And 100 Strong has been around now 2013 till now. It's about 12 years, and you're a part of it as well.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations to the organization on the heart work.
Thank you, thank you. And we're doing our thing. And people say, "What about the girls? What about the girls?" Well, we're trying to prepare boys to become men so that they will be better partners for the girls.
Interesting. Just before you continue on about the manhood thing, you know who's in town tomorrow?
Who's in town?
Scott Galloway.
Oh boy, yeah, Scott Galloway is legendary,
Oh, yes.
and he very powerful speaker, very data based information, and very provocative. He's a very staunch Democrat, so his filters through the Democrats. But it's always interesting to hear. Before he took sides, I was a fan of his during the pandemic when he would come up with his charts and all the different things about very interesting things. Very
Yeah.
powerful guy.
Also, too, he's just written a book about the plight of young men.
Okay, I know he wrote one on finance. I'll check this
Yeah,
one out.
but that's another conversation topic per side. But yeah, he's in town tomorrow. It's a sold out event. Him and Kara Switzer are doing a tour together, so it will be interesting. But well, I'll let you back on your train of thought just after Heather says kudos and much needed on so many levels for Black boys.
Indeed, indeed. So let's just talk about some of the stats here. 10 years ago, before we had our government here in Canada at the federal level, 68% of Canadians were donating to charities. In the last 10 years, during this multiple iterations of this government, we're now down to 54%. So people
Wow.
are giving less money. 2023 was a year, kind of a pivotal year, where people started getting back into giving money. Older Canadians, 65 and over, are the ones most likely to donate, and Manitoba is the highest for donation levels. Manitoba is the highest. Let me see here. 17% of Canadians are only getting tax receipts for the donation. So we're giving a lot of small donations. When you go to one of the grocery stores and they say, "Hey, would you like to give $1 to so and so?" Sure, right? So we're doing the donations, but we're not getting tax receipts for the donation because we're going below the threshold to receive one, which is usually $20 or $25. So if you give less than that, you give somebody $5 to the Salvation Army, $10 to the Salvation Army by putting cash, should you be carrying cash, into one of these drums. Those aren't captured because you're not getting a tax receipt, if that makes sense.
Can I permission to interrupt you? It's interesting that the age group of 65 and older is the the highest level they give.
Right. Not really, because they have had their money compounding since they were 18 years old or earlier.
Okay,
So their money has been making money on the money for 40 plus years. Therefore, they have a war chest of cash. Remember, the people 65 and over are buying houses in Toronto for 40 grand.
got it.
People 65 and over were getting defined benefit pensions that were indexed to inflation and working for the government and their teachers. And they've been retired since they're 50 because they started working at 20, and they're still getting their pension in their 70s and 80s, and they're making 80% of their best 6 years. If you're a principal, you're making over 100 grand in pension, not including your CPP and your OAS, which is probably going to get clawed back because you're beyond the magic number of $93,000. So you can see that they're going to have the money, disposable income, and they're mortgage free. Their kids are gone. They
Yeah,
have cottages. They're going to have the money to do that, and it's a part of them going into their highest level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Remember Maslow, the bottom you have physiological needs. That means, can you find food and water? Next level is safety. Can you get to and from where you live without being accosted? Third level, esteem. Do you believe in you? Are you working on your identity? 4, can you take that and now build it into a relationship? 5, self-actualization. What's the legacy you're going to leave after you're gone? People over 65 are thinking about how they're going to be remembered. They're thinking about eminence building, and they're thinking about how they can now give back because they have time and money to do so. So it makes sense.
all right, just want to catch up. Heather Harris is on fire today, as always, saying, here for young girls when 100 women are ready to form. Our girls need help too. And she says, it makes no sense. We pack our own groceries and make donations that they benefit from. Fraud. and then and then she says, why should we donate to the stores?
We're not donating to the stores, we're donating to the charities the stores are supporting. So when you go to in Ontario, I call it Ontario Stan. In Ontario Stan, we have something called the LCBO, Liquor Control Board of Ontario. And when you go to Liquor Control Board of Ontario, you buy a bottle of whatever you want to buy. They ask you, do you want to give a donation to the charity they're supporting when you buy your bottles? And most people will say, sure. And they'll take $1 and add it to your bill, and your wine will be $1 more. It's not going to the LCBO. It's not going to the winery. It's going to the charity LCBO is supporting.
Okay, good. All right, back to your flow, sir.
All right. So what we want to do is look at what people are doing to get the money. High engagement. People want the multicultural groups in Canada and in the United States, they want us to give more. We're not used to giving because my parents, listen, they gave to the church maybe every week, but their giving was sending money back home to their family, sisters, brothers, parents, cousins, nieces, nephews. That was their charity. So it's very different for people coming from the African diaspora and the Caribbean diaspora because they're thinking, I can't be here eating steak when my family back home is starving. So I'm going to eat chicken and I'm going to give my family a portion of my income. And this is non-tax deductible caregiving. You're taking care of your elderly mother or father or sisters or brothers or nieces and nephews, and none of that money is tax deductible, but it's going there every year. You'll hear about barrels, people packing barrels with food provisions and different things. You know, bully beef went on sale, only 3 per person. I go, my mother goes, my sister goes, my brother goes. We buy 3 bully beef each, and then we put it in the barrel.
Hold on a second. Have you been eavesdropping on some of our family conversations? Because we have in the process, my dad is getting 2 barrels to pack up to send down to Jamaica. Plus, that was one of the things, bully beef.
100%. Listen, I learned about Camay soap, palm olive soap, bully beef, feminine hygiene tampons, 10 pounds of rice, 10 kg bags of flour, stuffing this thing to it was so heavy. And we lived not on the first floor of any, with my father, we never lived on the main floor of any building. We were always elevated at least 2 floors.
Wow.
And this thing had to go. I have to give praise to these guys who are carrying these 2, 3, 400-pound barrels down flights of stairs, put it on trucks, sending it to Barbados. And again, their barrels are closed; they're not locked.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
say that again: the barrels are closed, but they're not
You,
locked.
you know, just I'm going to interrupt if I have your permission again. You know, it'd be great. A bunch of us get together and share some of our family stories, because that what you shared there's, and I'm still blessed to have my parents alive, and all the stories that they are sharing with me that I hope that I can share with others, like, the bully beef, and Right Way Home is in the house saying, "Good morning, family," and he says, "Bully beef for sale."
Bully beef on sale.
On sale. Well, actually, and I was in a grocery store and I saw that it was a Carnation evaporated milk on sale. So I can
Yes,
imagine, uh,
yes.
I can imagine, especially that's going to go fly off the shelves.
Like condensed milk and
Condensed milk. Was it Nestle's condensed milk?
Milo, and
Milo,
Ovaltine, and
Dettol.
these things, Dettol, right? These are Caribbean things. The Africans have to chime in and let us know what they're sending
Yeah,
back home. But we're sending money and we're sending these gifts, and there's nothing left over after we do those things. After we take care of our family, we take care of our family back home, our relatives back home. There's very little for us to give to anybody else. So you
sure.
see a lot of donations happening, but you don't see a lot of donations happening to Black charities. The numbers for Black charities are very, very low, like less than 2%. Why? For the reasons I just mentioned, but also because there's a governance issue or a perceived lack of governance issue. If I give this charity the money, where is the money going to go?
Oh, yeah.
How are the people really going to get the money? And this is not just a Black thing, this is a charitable thing. I see, if you want to make sure the charity doesn't get the money, hold a golf tournament. You go spend $200, $300 for a golf tournament to play, and they have great breakfast, great lunch, giveaway bag, play a great round of golf, and then you ask them the question, how much of that money actually went to the charity that we were supporting? 7% of the money.
Jeez.
93% goes to the administration of
Yeah.
holding the tournament. So when you're looking at charities, look at the utilization and how much actually goes to the people that they say they're supporting. And they have a number and a score. Can't recall what it is right now, but you want that score to be as low as possible being consumed by operations. The CEO is getting $400,000-$500,000, right? The office space, all the staff, all these people getting paid, and then how much actually gets to the charity. So for me, for Jamaica, it shows you're offline. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll pause until you come back. Are you there? You're frozen. Okay, are you back now?
All right, we may be having some technical challenges. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a question up for the audience here.
Okay.
Wayne, are you there?
Here.
Okay, sorry about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you were offline there for a second, so I don't know what you heard and didn't hear.
Uh, just rewind a little bit. I think you're pretty good. Like, we heard you clear, but I guess you were talking about, for many Black individuals, we spend so much time sending things back home. We don't have a lot of time or money to donate anything to any charities based here.
That's what I'm seeing and hearing, and it's anecdotal because we don't do race-based statistics in Canada, so it's very anecdotal. But I know that my family were consistent in sending at least 2 barrels home a year and copious amounts of cash money in in Christmas cards. So I don't know. They figured because the Christmas card was solid, they could put a $50 bill in there and close the Christmas card with a letter, and the people at Canada Post and Barbados Post wouldn't know that there was money in the card. They forgot that there's something called X-ray, and when you do
Got it.
X-ray, you can see the money's in the envelope, and that envelope may or may not get there. So you're not supposed to
Mhm.
send cash through the mail, right? Because they're X-raying all the mail. But that's one of the key reasons I think that charitable giving was not a something that was promoted as a child. I don't remember my mother or father ever coming to me saying, "Hey, make sure you go and give some money." I remember at Halloween, I would have the little UNICEF box, and when I went out
Yes.
trick or treating, I would get pennies for UNICEF, and I would donate that. And I thought to myself, who would ever steal the money from UNICEF? But people did, and I
Yes.
saw the poppies. Who would ever steal a poppy or not pay for the poppy and wear it? I should be wearing mine now. It's upstairs. I forgot it. But these are charities, venerable charities. From a Canadian perspective, the Poppy box for Remembrance Day and the UNICEF box for Halloween, those two, from the time I was a kid,
Standard.
standard. You see the commercials for the Red Cross and so forth. You have to ask yourself this: if you donate to one of these larger charities and NGOs, does the money go to the charity you wanted? If I give to the Red Cross, does that money go to Jamaica or does that money go to the Red Cross and it can go anywhere in the world? I want to know where the money's being directed. So for me this year, I gave the money to the Jamaican Canadian Association because they are a registered charity. They're Canadian. I get my tax receipt and I know they're going to do the right thing with the money. You could donate to the government of Jamaica, but I don't know if the government of Jamaica is going to issue a Canadian tax receipt.
Okay, so we're gonna pause right there because that's so just catching up. Right Way Home says Horlicks. Yes.
Horlicks.
And Heather Harris, corned beef. Yes, well, that's what we call bully beef. And then so Right Way Home says, yes, can we get tax receipts if we donate to Jamaican-based charities? So you were reading his mind on that.
Yes. Yeah, you date if you're American, find a charity that you know is venerable and has been vetted and has strong governance and will issue a tax receipt. I guess a minimum bar is usually $20. So if you give more than $20, you're going to get a tax receipt, and how much you get in tax deduction is going to be dependent on your tax bracket.
Well, Right
So,
Way Home is Canadian-based, actually. You know him.
okay. Okay.
Uh, and in the house, Dr. Tache, as I like to call her, is in the house. Good to have you here, Dr. Tache.
Hello, Doctor.
Uh, Continue your flow, Miss Harris, or I got questions for you.
Right. So people want to give more to the community, and we always hear about the churches with the 20-year and 25-year building fund. So the first offering is for the pastor and everything, and the second offering is for the building fund for the building that may or may never come. These sort of things, and people get a bad taste in their mouth that they're giving money to support the lifestyle of the pastor or the reverend that they're of the church they're going to. So again, you can do your due diligence. The charities have to file their taxes and do proper accounting. And if they have those things in place, you can be rest assured that they're going to be doing the right things, or the government will remove their charitable status. It may take a while, but they'll use it's so hard to get it that most people don't want to play that game and lose it. Um, there are barriers, right? A lot of newcomers that come to Canada are saying, "Listen, I need the money." So I don't know where to give. I don't know anything about that. I didn't receive the brochure when I landed at Pearson on where I should give and how I should give. But I do know my auntie back home, and I can Western mail, what do you call that? Western Union that money
Western
to
Union.
to her, and she will get the money, and I know what she will do with it, right? The other thing you'll notice, and in Jamaica specifically, I was there last year. As you're driving from the airport to the resort, I go to a resort because I'm not Jamaican, so I have to stay at a resort. But as I'm driving there, you see all these quarter built, half built, three-quarter built homes
Mm-hmm.
all along the coast. And I was saying to myself, why are there so many unfinished homes? Well, one, these people can't get mortgages because they're not Jamaican. They're coming from other countries and building these houses, a lot of them. So as they get money, they come down and do another part. Okay, put the foundation in, they go away. They come back next year. Okay, let's build the walls. Okay, go away. Come back and we're putting the windows in the roof. Okay, and they come back and forth with their money, and then the house is built. Well, here's the problem. If there's no will, no living will, no power of attorney, and that person dies or gets sick, nobody knows where the paperwork is. No one can do anything. So you may have a son and daughter in Jamaica. You went to England, Canada, or the US. You start building this house. They're there watching and doing all the project management for you, acting as general contractor. You don't have any paperwork in Jamaica. You don't have any paperwork in England. And no one can touch that house. So Hurricane Melissa comes through, sees that house is half done, tears it apart. Is there insurance? Maybe, maybe not. Who's the owner? And is there paperwork for someone on the ground to go onto that property and take care of business? Because I can tell you, not having a will, living will, and power of attorney in Jamaica at this time means that you couldn't fix it if you wanted to because it's not yours. You can't buy it because you can't get the paperwork to change title. That means all that land, who knows how long those places are going to stay in that dilapidated state because there's no paperwork for anyone to do anything because the person who owns it is either in Jamaica or overseas, and there's no paperwork for anyone to do anything.
Wow. And I know there's a number of people that are in probably in that situation that either we know or don't know at this present time. Heather Harris says, House of Ruth to assist women who have abused by their partners, shelter provided for women and their children. The program also exists to help their abuser. So is the House of Ruth based where you are, Heather?
Yes,
I've never heard of it here. Like I know in Toronto, I think there was, I don't know if it's still, there was a place called Stella's Place many years ago. I believe that was the name of the place, but I can't remember off the top of my head if that was the correct name of the place. But yeah, this whole situation is just very concerning.
Jamaica is going to be on sale.
Oh yeah.
So people, I've been hearing the messages saying, hey, Jamaica, don't sell. Figure it out, but don't sell. So imagine you're down there, you have your family, you have a home, the home gets destroyed, you have no insurance, and you have no one from overseas helping you send money, and you're barely surviving, and it was your grandmother's house on your grandmother's land, galvanized roof, you know the whole situation. That person financially is devastated to a point that they may not have the money to rebuild that house. So what do? Some developer comes along and says, I'll give you $25K US for a piece of land that's so close to the beach that if they can get enough of these people who are in distress, they can bulldoze all those houses and build a gated community in the better parts of Jamaica from a tourist perspective. So we're going to see the outcome of that in the next couple of months and years as people try to rebuild, but maybe can't. It just doesn't make economic sense.
Why do I feel that there's even going to be more Chinese in Jamaica over the next few years?
The predators are going to come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them, most of them are going to look like and sound like the local Jamaicans because they're going to be the moneyed Jamaicans who are going to be able to buy better parts of Jamaica 10 cents on the dollar. Okay.
Right Way Home says there is a credible threat that foreigners can take over property.
Especially when there's no paperwork. And usually there's no paperwork.
Especially when there's no paperwork. And Heather says, those are facts. Keep your property. 100%. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back from our break, it's a quick one. If Wayne has more he wants to share, great. If not, I always have questions, especially when Mr. Harris is in the house. I got a pile of conversation pieces, but we're going to be back in a quick second.
You are watching Financial First Fridays with Wayne Harris on the Morning Vibe with Dr. Vibe and Ryan Knight. Stay tuned. It's all about knowledge, empowerment, and starting your month on the right financial foot.
All right, we are back with
Wow. Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. Dr. Vibe. I love it. Amazing. Look at you. You're an AI meister.
Hey, I just thought I'd just throw that little thing in to just bring a smile to your face. I thought you'd like that.
Buddy, you got to give that to me, man. Let me post that on LinkedIn, boy.
I will send that to you.
You're a good man.
I
Love it.
well, you know what? Was told a long time ago that I don't want to be a leader, but I guess some people could regard the biggest leaders are the biggest servers. So I thought, let me do something for Wayne to just signify when he's on the show. And then when you're not on the show, on other shows, I'll be promoting that also. So, cross platform it, Oh, look at this. Dr. Tachi says, Dr. Vibe and his battalion of friends.
Love it.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good. If you have more to share, Wayne, if not, I have a myriad of conversation pieces for you.
You know what? Let's go to some of your questions.
Okay. So one of my first conversation pieces with you is, actually, before we go there, and I've put it up, I've sent it to everyone in the chat who's watching live. Question for the audience. What's one cause you have supported that made you proud?
Whew. A couple.
Okay. You can start off in the
100.
audience if you want. Go for it.
Yeah. 100 strong, obviously. 2 would be Movember.
Yes.
For reasons that people may or may not know about my own personal situation, and my father's and my grandfather's with prostate cancer, and also the Walnut Foundation.
Yes. 100%. 100%. All
Well,
right.
I'm interested to hear from the audience.
Yeah, I like the audiences you want to share in the comments. So first conversation piece for you is, let me just put it up here. Here we go. What's the first step for Black families who want charitable giving to be part of their legacy but feel overwhelmed?
Overwhelmed in the financial sense?
Okay, let's take it. Say this family has the finances to do charitable giving, but they don't know where to start.
Right. Well, you can start with the understanding of why you want to give. So always start with why. Why do you want to give? Why do you think it's important? What's the value you're attributing to giving? And once you understand your why, the what and the how and the where is easy. But understand why you want to give. Why is this a value that you and your family subscribe to you know to show that you're not just taking from this thing called life, but you're also giving. So I look at goodwill, and everybody walks around with a bucket of goodwill. I have a bucket of goodwill. You have a bucket of goodwill. Today, you poured into my bucket by A, giving me the platform on the Dr. Vibe show. B, you made a commercial for me,
Mhm.
unbeknownst to me. That's goodwill, right? So what I got to do? I got to feed you with oxtail. I got to take you out for lunch. I big you up when I'm not. I bring people to the platform, and I'll always promote the Dr. Vibe show.
And
So goodwill
I
flows
also
both ways.
promote Wayne Harris too. So it's reciprocal.
Exactly. And that's what we're looking for. I see a lot of people who are black holes, all puns intended. Value goes in, but no value comes out. Okay. So I noticed that the most successful people are people who put goodwill in other people's bucket first, rather than looking for people to put goodwill in their bucket before they
Mhm.
do something. So yes, there's reciprocity, but reciprocity means you need to serve first.
Got
Okay.
it.
So the family has to understand why they're giving. Sit down together if you have your family meetings and say, okay, we're looking to give money to a charity. I want everybody to give 10%, whatever. Which one and why? And everyone around the room talks about it. And it's okay. As a family, we're going to go to Toy Mountain and give toys. We're going to go buy an extra toy. Or this year, Johnny, you're not going to get a toy. I'm going to give a toy to another child. So I saw families who did that. They don't give gifts to their kids. The kids go and buy gifts and say, I think little Johnny would love this Tonka truck. and they give that toy to Toy Mountain rather than doing it themselves. So start with why.
Okay. So Right Way Home says the thing that's given to that is his family foundation. What is the name of your family foundation, Right Way Home? Tell us. Also, Right Way Home says, as my friend Nicholas says, we have to move from legacy building to dynasty building.
Yeah, legacy building and dynasty building could be semantics. I don't know what he means by both of those definitions, so he would have to clarify
Okay.
that. Because legacy is going to be something that lasts beyond your lifetime. Dynasty or dynastic is we're doing it repeatedly for multiple generations. So legacy might be just you and your legacy that stops with you. Dynastic might mean multiple generations. That means you set up an endowment. So you don't give one scholarship, which is a legacy. You give scholarships forever by having an endowment and have the endowment issue the scholarships every year. So maybe that's my definition of legacy versus dynastic. Legacy is one time, dynastic is multiple generations.
So Right Way Home, if you want to add on to that, I know you will. So looking for the comments. So Fitnets IQ Cam says, morning, gentlemen. Also says, what a great topic. Well, make sure you contribute to it. And then Right Way Home says, that is correct, Wayne. So we're on a good roll here. So another conversation piece for Mr. Harris here. Yeah, let me do this. So what common mistakes do families make when trying to balance charity without providing for their own children or family?
You probably heard the term charity begins at home. So personally, I can attest to being on the wrong side of someone's pension to have an obligation to outside forces versus inside forces. So let me just clarify that. I believe that once I put this ring on my finger, that my wife became my family. And my siblings, one of which is on this call, became my relatives. Understand? They were my family until I got married. But once I got married, my wife became my family. And then we had children. My children became my family. Okay? It stops within the four walls of the house that I'm in right now. Relatives are everybody who's outside the house. So when I make a decision, I have to filter the decision between what's good for my family first, then what's good for my relatives. What I saw that caused a lot of financial pain in my family was people assuming that the people who they grew up with back home were their family.
Mm.
And that's when things went awry. I made a key point when I got married that my wife and my children were my family, and they were first priority for me and my spend. And then if there was anything left over after we were okay, then I took care of a business outside. When you're on an airplane and the plane cabin loses pressure, the mask dropped from the ceiling, what do they say to do, Dr. Vibe?
Take care of yourself first. Put your mask on first.
That's all I'm saying. So I put my mask on first. I put Angie's mask on. I'll put the kids' mask on. Then if I have more masks, I'll look outside my house. And that's all I'm saying. And that's how I run my family. And my wife is like 2 thumbs up. So we have family members who support us. We have family members we've supported. But again, only after the mandatory family needs are taken care of. So the discretionary relative spend can happen. But if the mandatory is not satisfied, the discretionary doesn't happen. I apologize to them, but I'm not going to give money to them and have my family be at risk. That's how I roll.
How can charitable giving actually strengthen a family's financial future instead of depleting it?
Well, here's the deal. Imagine you want your name, Dr. Vibe, on the name of your alma mater. Okay? The alma mater is a nonprofit. So you're going to get a charitable receipt. You give $1 million. Let's say you're in the top tax bracket in Canada. If you do it through your corporation, 75% of what you gave could be tax deductible. Did you hear what I just said, Dr. Vibe? You give $1 million and get back $750,000 on your taxes. Okay? Let's say worst case scenario between the province and the federal, and again in the states, you have your state and federal, but in Canada, provincial and federal, you could have 50% when you combine the two tax deductions. So you can give $1 million and get back $500,000 because you gave $1 million. You take the $500,000 and you go to another institution and they give them $500,000. Okay? Now you're playing with house money because you already gave away $1 million. You got back 500. You take the 500, you give that to another institution, you get back 250. You take the 250, give that to another institution, you get back 125. You take the 125, you give that to another institution, and you get back half of that. So you see, all of that is coming from the original $1 million. But multiple hospitals, multiple universities, multiple colleges, multiple soup kitchens are all being satisfied from the one spend and the multiple tax deductions. And there's also tax credits depending on what you do, whether you want to do it through the corporation or whether you want to do it through your personal. Talk to your accountant. I'm not an accountant. But here's the other good news. We have a lot of parents who have homes whose children's names are not on the home. Therefore, husband and wife, husband dies, wife gets the house. No tax spousal transfer. But now the wife dies, there's 4 kids. There is tax from the mother to the kids if they're not on title or the house is not in a trust. Usually neither of those is true, especially in the Black community. So guess what? You have a house you bought for $100,000. It is now worth, because it's Toronto and it's crazy, $1.1 million. Okay? That means the cost of acquiring the house is $100,000. The appraised value of the house from the government's perspective is 1.1. You're going to pay $1 million in capital gains. Right? It's a capital gain. It's $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Half of the capital gain is tax-free, $500,000. The other $500,000 is taxable at 50% in this country. That means your 4 children have to come up with $250,000.
Wow.
To keep that house. So here's what I know. One single mother can take care of 4 kids, but usually 4 kids can't take care of one single mother. I'm out there in those streets every week, Dr. Vibe. I tell you, I see the kids grown, can't take care of their parents.
I know that.
Can't take care of the long-term care facility.
Nope.
Can't take care of getting them to and from appointments. Right? I gotta work, right? Especially if you follow the family first mentality and then move to relatives, you can't give your mother or your father what you can't give to your own family. There's nothing left over. So I want you to think about this. If I have my estate, I can take my stocks, my TFSA, my RSP, my non-registered funds, my stock, my crypto, I can donate that to a charity. And that is going to be a massive tax deduction, a minimum of 50%. I get that money back. Now I can use that money to pay for the capital gains on the house transfer. So yes, I want those stocks. Oh, Daddy had stocks from Bell and from Sun Life and from Rogers and from Microsoft. And you want to keep those stocks. But if you keep those stocks, you pay capital gains because it's a deemed disposition. It's as if you sold them and you have to pay the capital gain. But if you take those stocks from your estate and direct them to a charity, the charity is going to give you 50% tax deduction on that stock. So rather than paying capital gains, you receive a tax deduction and receive a tax reimbursement. Take the tax reimbursement and now pay the capital gains for the house that you're receiving from your parents. And all of a sudden, you're not paying $250, you might be paying $150 or $100 or nothing, depending on how much stock you have.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right Way Home says, Wayne, that is a huge cultural shift. And then Fitness IQ Cam says, my mama bear would donate to World Vision. And as a family, we would do Samaritan's Purse for Christmas. Good stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll reset and we'll continue the conversation with Mr. Harris, but we're going to be doing a program alert. So this is what's coming up on Monday.
Coming up on this Monday show, Carolyn Nickel of the Energy Shack Juice Bar and Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery will be talking about how to not set your health back over the holidays.
All right, that's coming up this Monday. Carol Nicole, yes, it is holiday season. We should think about keeping our waistlines in instead of letting them bulge out during the holiday season. So Carolyn's going to be on. And also, I will tell you, in December, she's going to have an open show. Ask her any question. Ask the nutritionist. So just a little program alert coming up. We're here hanging out with Wayne, talking about how to make charitable giving work for your family. I want us to, in the future, you mentioned that. I don't know if we've ever done a show about financial, how do you set or how do you deal financially with your parents if they're age and you can't, the challenges, because that's a whole industry in itself. Like once every month we have Desiree King come on, talk about certain aspects of taking care of transitioning Black elderly. But I think there's a whole financial aspect
100%.
that needs to be chatted about, because we always hear baby boomers. Well, that's not just white people. It's also non-white people. And that whole financial setup, as I always say, one of the great examples I saw of an elder taking care of themselves, my godfather, he's transitioned a number of years ago, but he got older and his health was not the best, but he set himself up financially that he had 24/7 care at home for 3 or 4 years before he transitioned.
100%.
So I think that whole area of financial and aging is something, if you're interested, I think it'd be a great conversation piece.
Yeah, happy to do it. No problem.
All right. Let's get back to another conversation. How do you involve younger generations in charitable decisions without forcing your values?
You see that has been infused into the school system. Kids have to have an X number of volunteer hours before they can graduate. I think it's like 200 volunteer hours before they graduate grade 12. So we are priming them to be servant leaders all the way through school. And you can't graduate unless you get those hours in. Some people more than quadruple the hours required. You see them working at hospitals, you see them working on political campaigns, you see them working on different things to amass crazy amounts of hours of giving back. And then as they get older, that seed has been planted on giving back with time. And now you supplement the time with money. So you're creating that cohort for the last 20 years of volunteer hours. And now they come out and they say, you know what, I really like this charity. I see what they're doing. I've been volunteering here. I'm on the inside. I see how they're spending the money. I'm going to give some cash to this. Right? So that's how you really indoctrinate people to do certain things. You start them young. Right? I was a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout. We were volunteering. Right? So I associated charity with time because we didn't have money. Right? As I get older and you understand the mechanisms of charitable giving and understand how tax credits and tax deductions can work for you, now you can start giving money, assuming you've covered all your financial bases before you start to give money.
What's one tax strategy related to charitable giving that Black families often overlook?
They give cash and they don't get receipts. So every week you're at church and you put $20 in the plate, no one knows unless you have envelopes and you're a member that you gave $20.
Yes.
So when you're going to give, you either use the envelopes, and the envelopes will have your name, a member 123. That will let you know that the member 123 gave 52 weeks at a time, $20. and then you'll get your tax receipt, and then you can continue to give and go forward from them. So when you're giving cash donations, you might want to not give that extra dollar at the LCBO, not give the extra dollar at Walmart, but then give $20 to the charity of your choice, get your tax deduction. Again, it's not so much because you're saving money on taxes, but it's a nice reward that you weren't seeking to do the right thing. The government's actually rewarding you to do the right thing from a charitable perspective.
Could you share a story where charitable giving transforms a family's legacy in unexpected ways? If you have any stories.
For sure. Just think about 100 Strong. If we didn't start that program, all the boys who came through, remember, we're telling them excellence without excuses. So we want them to have a higher standard for themselves. You live at your habits, you live at your standards. So we're raising the standards for these boys. Now these boys come out of high school, and they believe that they can go to university, and not just go to university, but do well in university. And then they're going to come out. Now the boys are old enough now that some of them have graduated with their first degree, and some of them are working, right? So we're basically creating a funnel of boys who are becoming men who have the standards that are very high for themselves and the people in their orbit, right? So what we're trying to do is raise a thermostat of belief for the boys. The boys come in with a thermostat of 15 degrees, and they meet men at 75 degrees. We only have them for 3 weeks, almost a month, but we can get them from 15 degrees to 50 degrees. Even though everybody in the room is 75, next year they come back, now they're 65 degrees. So we're trying to raise their belief, and that is a positive serendipitous effect of these boys coming through the program.
Nice. Also want to put it out there, what tools or resources simplify charitable giving for families without a financial background?
Great question. I think that whomever they associate with from a charitable perspective will usually have things like websites and easy ways for you to donate money or time. We saw this when we had the newcomers come into Canada, and they had no place for them, and they're living in tents and whatnot. The churches had to step up. The Black churches stepped up to take care of and shelter these people. So we're giving clothes, we're giving money, we're doing things because the city and the province and the federal government had turned their back on these people. I don't know why. They came from Sudan. I don't know why they turned their backs on them, but they're people coming from other countries that didn't look like us that seemed to get taken care of rather well by our government. So I'm really trying to do things either with my time or my money to put systems in place that will run systematically without me having to be there to run it, if that makes sense. We're trying to start things up and let those things run the system so we can get predictable results. Okay, once we have that, then we can duplicate it in multiple places. So 100 Strong, again, as my example, Regent Park was taken care of, Toronto was taken care of. Once we got the system in place, we replicated that in Durham, we replicated in Peel. Well, we know Vaughan is next, and then we're going to take it across other parts of the country once we have ourselves established.
So you guys aren't stopping.
No, boys need it. Boys north of Steeles need it. Boys west of 427 need it. Boys east of Morningside need it. So we're helping.
Nice. I'm going to give you this question, but I'm also going to put it out to the audience. In a moment, you'll see it on the screen. Would you rather give monthly to a cause or leave a legacy?
Why is it either or?
Okay, I just doesn't have to. It can be both.
Again, you look at Desmond Tutu. He didn't leave any money per se, but he left a big legacy on what he did in South Africa, right? So I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I think you can give time, you can give money. You just want to make sure there's a good use of your time or your money or both.
Okay. What I'm going to say is, since it is Prostate and Testicular Cancer Month, I'd like to transition to that subject. I know there was another topic, but I think that's a whole separate conversation in itself.
Hmm.
And I think for relevancy, I think it'd be a good time to chat about Prostate and Testicular Cancer Month. So what would you like to share with our audience on that?
Well, this is also National Financial Literacy Month.
Yeah.
It's also
Okay. Hold on a second, or just give me a second here. And I know you mentioned this, but you can confirm this. Does 100 Strong have charitable status?
yes, it does.
There you go.
Yes, it does. So November in Canada, Financial Literacy Month, Indigenous Education Month, Career Month, Veterans Week. There's a bunch of different things for November. I see November as Movember because it's personal to me. For those of you who don't know, I went to the doctor in 2006 because I wanted to increase my life insurance for my family. I was working for a company and I had read The Wealthy Barber, and it said, hey, you need to have 10 times your gross salary as life insurance. Get it how you can get it. The different types of life insurance, we won't get into that today. But I got a policy that was 10 times my gross income. And at 39, they said, well, you want that amount of money, we need to do blood work. I said, no problem. I'm still playing ball in the men's league, 39 years old. I'm fine. I have been testing my blood for prostate cancer, which my grandfather died of. My father had survived. And I was testing my blood from 35 and it was fine. 39, I tested. My PSA, prostate specific antigen, is 3 times what it's supposed to be. They say you need to go see your doctor. I go see my doctor. He says you need to have a seat. I said I'll stand. He goes, you have cancer. I go, what kind of cancer? He goes, prostate cancer. And I said, okay, well, my father survived it. He had stage 3. My grandfather didn't have access to the PSA blood test, so he died. And now here I am at 39. So I'm going to one of the preeminent hospitals in Ontario, if not the country, Sunnybrook, because I use a benefit called Best Doctors from my company and said, these are the best guys. Princess Margaret, Urology, and Sunnybrook. Princess Margaret never called me back, super busy. Went to Sunnybrook. This guy took care of me. I saw him 2 months ago. It's 19 years post-op, cancer-free for 19 years, knock on wood. And if I did not apply for the extra insurance, I wouldn't have known until much later in the year when I got my physical and they drew the blood. Because I was so young, the PSA blood test was not included in the standard blood test. I had to pay for it. So if you didn't pay for PSA under the age of 50, you wouldn't even know. You blow past the stop sign. And by the time you got to 50, when you got your first test, you could be stage 3 or 4.
Yep.
Which my father was. So I caught it at stage 1 because I was testing my blood and asking for the PSA and paying for it. Okay? So you have to ask yourself this. My grandfather dies of prostate cancer. My father remediates his. I have it. I remediate mine. And you came to see me in the hospital back in 2006. So I thank you again, doctor, for just being who you are.
Well, that just to interrupt, that was a life-changing moment in my existence. That accelerated me going to my doctor every month. So I thank you. Your test has become a testimony for me.
Exactly. Thank you. And once I finished up, I used to support prostate cancer because of my father and my grandfather, and I just got really into it. Once I had mine, I had a story of someone who was in their 30s getting prostate cancer. Sunnybrook staff were baffled that I would have it, but I think a lot of my friends also had it because many of them died in their mid 50s. It takes about 15 years for prostate cancer to take you out. And a lot of my friends were in their mid 50s when they got their diagnosis that they were stage 4 colon and stage 4 prostate cancer, because in their 30s and 40s they weren't getting a baseline test for their blood. Anybody in earshot of what I'm saying to you and you're younger than the age of 40, go and get your full blood, not what the doctor checks off. Get everything checked off. It's your right to say, I want to get my kidneys checked. I want to get my glucose checked. I want to get everything that you think, including for guys, the PSA, which are not going to include under the age of 40. You need to get it all and get your baseline numbers. That's the only thing that saved my life. I would have blown past a stop sign and be in my mid 50s, which was just a couple of years ago, with stage 3 or stage 4 prostate cancer. I may not have survived had I not done the proactive testing. Well, I have a son. He's 27. Guess what? He needs to start testing, right? Because if I can catch it at 39, he might be 32 or 33. We don't know, but he needs to have a baseline. So this is what we're trying to do to be proactive with our medicine. And by the way, if you apply for life insurance and you apply for life insurance of a certain amount or critical illness insurance for a certain amount, they will do a paramedical, and a paramedical tests for everything. So if you're going to get life insurance and you get an amount that's in the range where just answering the questions is not enough, they will send out someone to draw blood and draw urine, and they will tell you everything you have from that test, for the most part.
Yeah, it runs. My dad is an overcomer of prostate cancer, and he's had a number of, especially on his side of the family, a number of challenges health wise: heart attack, stroke, prostate cancer, thyroid, etc. So, as we would say down home, I'd be idiot if I didn't take care of my health, because your health is your wealth. And as I always say, if you're not taking care of your health, you're going to be spending your wealth to take care of your health.
100%. A lot of us younger people who are listening to this are writing checks that their older selves are going to have to pay. So what I'm asking you to do is, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, go and get your test, go get your physical, find a doctor, even if it's a walk-in clinic and you can't do any better than that.
Do something.
Go get your numbers, go get your baseline, and then run it back every year so you can do a preemptive strike on something that's coming to take you out. Prostate cancer was coming to take me out. I did a preemptive strike. I'm still here. My father did a preemptive strike. The preemptive strike was not available for my grandfather, and he's no longer here. Okay? And maybe his father suffered the same fate. We don't know, but we know the gene is strong. So from a prostate and testicular perspective, I have another friend that had testicular cancer, and he was in his 20s. You never know.
You see?
You never know.
You see? And Wayne, you've gone through personal experience, but also in the sector that you're in now. Aren't you noticing there are health afflictions happening to younger people that we never heard of when we were their age?
I think that's anecdotal. I don't have the actual numbers, but I can tell you this. When you eat badly, or you eat poor quality or ultra high processed food, you're going to get things that would have taken your organs years to get to a level of fatigue that would happen in your 80s or 90s. You're going to get that a lot sooner.
Yep.
I'm not going to name any brands here. I don't want to get sued, but there's certain things that should never be ingested. And if it contains white flour, white sugar, white flour, white salt,
and a lot of these ingredients are hidden,
right? And sugar is known by many, many different names. And high fructose corn syrup, which the body has no idea what to do with, just puts a lot of pressure on the organs that have to filter the thing that is so foreign to your body that it can't even understand what to do with it. And this is in many, many things. Carolyn will talk about that, I'm sure, on Monday. But since talking to her, I've reduced my amount of things that aren't grown in the ground and don't walk the earth. So if it's not a cow or a chicken or something that can be grown in the ground, and if it doesn't have seeds, I usually don't eat it. Like watermelon without seed to me is bizarre. Yeah. Grapes without seeds I remember back in the day, my mother buying grapes that didn't have seeds. I was so impressed. Oh my God, I don't have to spit out the seeds. I thought it was the next best thing from Christmas. And then I learned not having seeds is no bueno. Right? And try to stay away from the things that have been modified. to kind of get back to as natural as you can, because your body can only understand the natural. It can't understand the unnatural.
Could you give a message to Black men and those who love them in regards to prostate cancer, testicular cancer?
For sure. I would say to my brothers and the sisters who love them that if you have a man in your orbit who is over the age of 30, I would say even 25 now, they need to go to the doctor and they need to get a full checkup. Not the 15 seconds, swipe your card, here's your blood pressure, say and get out of there. I'm saying DRE, digital rectal exam, to test the consistency and the size of the prostate. Many men don't want to do it. Many men die. PSA, prostate specific antigen, is not the best test, but it's better than not getting it because sometimes it has some false positives. Again, better than nothing. It's just part of your normal blood test when you're testing your glucose and testing all the other things. Blood pressure, right? Blood pressure is a big deal in our community.
Oh,
Check your blood pressure. When I saw John Singleton die from blood pressure with no symptoms, blood pressure will get you and gets a lot of people because people don't know and they're not testing their blood pressure. I test my blood pressure a couple of times a week. Used to be every day, but a couple of times a week. Since I've been working with Carolyn, my blood pressure has been normal more often than not. I know when it's not going to be normal. I've done something or eaten something somewhere outside where they use the wrong type of salt. You should be using Himalayan, Celtic, or sea salt, not the table salt. And if they, a lot of seasonings from the Caribbean, because we eat the slave diet that we have perfected with seasonings and make, chicken neck and pig foot and cow head and goat foot and all the things that the master used to throw away. We've learned how to boil down, cook down, slow cook, marinate, and make it taste into fantastic food, but not the best cuts of meat, not the best for you. And the amount of salt in the seasonings will take you out. And if you eat that diet with a lot of starch,
yeah.
bad things are going to happen. So we kind of know what we're doing here. I'm going to say the first thing is get a doctor. If you cannot get a doctor, go to the walk-in clinic and tell them you want a full blood test. If you can't get that done, you need to talk to your boy and let's go get you some life insurance. When you get life insurance, it's going to trigger, depending on what the amount you want, is going to trigger a paramedical. When you get the paramedical, they're going to test everything. Okay? Under 30, probably no paramedical depending on the amount. Over 50, guaranteed pretty much a paramedical. And that will tell you things that you did not know and could not get from your doctor. Okay?
Yeah, I think it's so important. Like even, recently we lost D'Angelo, 51 years old. I think it was heart related, right? So it's just actually, Wayne, and it's a question that we can't provide answers of, but maybe theoretically, between you and I, how many Black men we know that go to a doctor at least once a year?
Again, anecdotally, I would say the
Yep.
number is very low
Yep.
because there's big egos and big fear. Now, again, we understand some of them understand the history we've had with the
Yes.
medical establishment, and it's not been positive for people that look like us in the United States, especially women. I'll say Henrietta Lacks,
Yep.
Tuskegee experiments, and so on and so forth. They've done us dirty enough that we're wary because we're aware. But again, I want you to understand that not everyone is out to get you. And if you can find a practitioner who looks like you, your outcomes are much more positive because they understand what the symptoms look like with our skin. There's a new doctor, a young doctor, he's all over social media, Joel Bevel. He's a new young doctor, and he talks about the different, the oxygen meter that can't get through black skin, and certain things that, the kidney tests that have
Mhm.
racial bias in them and whatnot. He brings all that to the table. So Joel Bevel, I think is his name, Dr. Joel Bevel, and he's blown up on social media and just got his MD, and he's doing his thing. So understand that knowledge is king, context is queen. Knowing these tests and knowing what these tests mean to black people, the Americans have a very good handle on that because we do not do race based stats. So everything's a guessing game in our country, but the Americans have it down to an art and a science to give you specific outcomes. Now, again, the American diet is not our diet. I don't eat collard greens and grits, but I know what they are. And I know that we have, from a Caribbean perspective and from an African perspective, we have a high starch propensity. And the
Yes.
high starch propensity, starch is just another name for sugar.
Sugar.
And Carolyn can talk to that on Monday. So we need to honor our ancestors and honor our traditional foods, but in a way that has been changed to not cause inflammation, insulin resistance, weight gain, fatigue, and all the other things that can come from that diet. And you wonder why people are dying in their 50s and 60s and 70s in the Caribbean. It's not because they are, back in the day, you were working physically 12 hours a day, sun up to sundown, right? I understand that it's exhaustion, but people are working desk jobs now. They're sitting in chairs like yours and chairs like mine, and they're not getting the movement, and they're not getting the oxygen,
Yeah.
they're not getting the exercise, but they're still eating enough calories for someone who's working outside 12 hours a day. No bueno. Something's got to give, and usually it's your body. It's going to break down. I can't remember what it was. It was a Rasta on one of the social medias, and to me, it just made sense. He goes, mucus of the lungs, lung cancer, mucus in the prostate cancer, mucus in the brain, Alzheimer's, right? He basically said that whenever you have mucus, that's what's going to trigger these cancers and these ailments. Diabetes, right? Mucus of the pancreas, right? These are all the things that are bringing us to heal, because we're just following what our parents and grandparents did. Listen, I used to love me some rum. The darker, the better. The older, the better. Rum is concentrated sugar
Yep.
and alcohol, neither of which are good for your liver and your kidneys. And they work overtime. I believe Carolyn said 7 days
Yep.
to get rid of that from your body. So the hangover is the least of your worries. Is your body working overtime to get rid of the alcohol? So I have, next week will be 1 year. I haven't had a drop. I feel better. I go to the gym, and I'm not saying, no judgment if you're drinking. They say drink clear alcohol, so gin, vodka, tequila, if you're going to do it, because clear is not as bad as dark. But the whole economy of many of these countries is based on rum. Barbados has the oldest rum distillery in the world, Mount Gay, 1703. And that rum is still pumping out. That rum was the main cause and enabler for 400 years slave trade.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get why rum, tastes great for those of you who like it, but I'm out. I've been drinking for over 40 years, and I am at a level of health that is better than it used to be, but not where it should be. I'm not saying I'm going to blame alcohol for that. It has something to do with me eating oxtail every now and then, and the rotis and the different Caribbean food. But I do that sparingly, and I can tell you I have not been to a fast food place in months. Now, every now and then I'm on the highway, I got to go to where I'm going, and there's nothing there, and I want to pick up something because I'll pass out behind the wheel if I don't eat something. But even with those fast food, there are better choices for fast food, and you can try those better choices.
Well said. All right. So as we start winding it down, Right Way Home says when it comes to food, quote, white ain't right, unquote. Fitness IQ Cam says, congratulations on your 1 year. Right Way Home says, oh man, not rum. I may have to stick to rum cake. Black cake. And then Fitness IQ Cam says, LOL, clear is better than dark is a wild statement for some reason.
Yeah, I get all the connotations and all that, but let me tell you that dairy is terrible.
Yeah,
Dairy is a mucus maker. Like it's undefeated for what it causes, the negative causes within especially people who look like us who are mostly lactose intolerant,
right.
right? And I remember my father would eat the cheese, and then he would start, you know, um, the phlegm would increase and thicken because of the milk. If milk, and again, I don't want to get sued, but if dairy were fantastic for you, and it can be, I'm sure there's some benefits to dairy. You're talking about calcium and protein and all those good things, and that's great. But there are better, cleaner ways to do it. And if it were so good, why is it the first thing you have to stop when you're sick? First thing they say is, hey,
No dairy.
get off the dairy, clear liquids only. Is that not what they say?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I'm at a point now, if I have dairy, my stomach has a bad reaction to it. And I say to especially black men, the body is an incredible machine. It tells you when things are right and it tells you when things are wrong. It's up to you what you do when it gives you those messages.
You just have to listen. You just have to listen. So I'm not saying to anyone, do what I do. I'm saying to you, if you love dairy, stop it for a week and see how you feel, and let us know on the next show. If you love alcohol, stop it for a week or a month, and let your liver,
Clean out.
clean
Yeah.
itself up. Go on one of Carolyn's fast
Fast.
programs
Exactly.
for 3 days or more
Yep.
to get real benefit, and see how you feel after the end of 3 days, and see what you look like.
And
Listen,
even simpler, if you can't get to that, even go on a 1 day water fast. Start, some people 3 may be hard, but even a 1 day thing. So
with electrolytes.
yes, Black Sir said, "Good morning, brothers. Gonna have to watch the replay as I had an appointment. No problem. Dang, I had a lot of insight on the health topics. No problem." Fitness IQ Camp says, "Very true." And it says it's Stanley, by the way. So good to see you, Stanley, as always. And Fitness IQ Camp says, "Milk, I dashed away. Yeah, milk is gone. Long time gone for me.
Yeah.
Long time. Milk for especially people who look like us. Milk should be not even considered."
Right. I listen. I love me some cheese, man. Wine with cheese and a little bit of grapes and this and that. I was doing all that, and man, my belly was distended, and
Yeah.
I could
Even
do
even when I do
crunches.
that once in a while, my body does not react good.
Yeah.
It just says, "No, this is." So what are you doing? It's like more like, "What are you doing?" It's telling me, "What are you doing, Dr. Vibe?
Right.
What are you doing that for? What are you doing that for?" So let's see what else here. Fitness IQ Cam says, "I even have to worry about the non-dairy depending on the ingredients."
Right.
True. And Blacker says intermittent fasting is a game changer. You need to come in on Monday and talk to Carolyn about that. She has her comments on the intermittent fasting thing.
She does.
So I'm gonna if Stan, if you have a chance, come in on Monday because Carolyn's gonna be talking about, you know, behaving yourself during the holiday season. Fitness IQ Cam says, I'm doing a detox, no drinks or bad snacks, eating healthier.
Good.
Good for you. Well, that's a good setup for Carolyn on
I think
Monday.
I think so. Listen,
Yes.
just to
So
recap, today, Dr. Vibe. I
yes,
want I
please.
want people to understand that giving to charities is bueno. It's a good thing. Given to the right charities where the dollar more of your dollar is going to get to the people you're trying to affect positively, even better. Understanding that if you give, try to get the tax benefits of giving. So be up north of $20 and make sure that you have receipts so you can get a tax receipt from the company to reduce your taxable footprint. Understand if you include charities in your will, you will reduce the amount of probate and reduce the amount of taxes you will pay in the estate. That means you need to have a will, living will, and power of attorney, boys and girls. So you make sure you have those things in place and decide with your tax professional and your financial advisor how much you need to give to offset how much capital gained so you can leave less of a debt burden to the next generation.
Good
Okay?
stuff. So there's Wayne's contact information. Wayne Harris Consulting is the website. Email wayneharris905@gmail.com. Instagram, Wayne Harris Consulting. It's in the comments section on most of the platforms you're watching the replay. I just want to give Wayne one of these. All right. So before we shut it down today, some housekeeping. If you want to get a hold of Mr. Ryan Knight, it's RyanOneilKnight.com, and that's Knight with a KN, not an N. A few last things. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button, because there are people who watch, but you don't subscribe. I don't know what's holding you back. No problem. But like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. If you want to join the Discord group, email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or copy and paste the link that you see there to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm on. Please email me if you want to do that. Let's see any other things. If you want to find out more about myself, please go to toplink.cc/the Dr. Vibe Show, and you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also, the Afro Caribbean Business Network on YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight. So this is how we close it down. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. And as always, we like, especially on this episode, Ben, go to a doctor on a regular basis. Please and thank you. People are counting on you. All right. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.